Howdy folks, hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. I sure did. I got myself the Logitech K740 keyboard and some money, which is all I really wanted, though I wouldn't have even needed this new keyboard if I hadn't accidentally broke my old one about a month ago trying to put it back together after I took it apart to clean it out, which was pretty saddening considering I've had this keyboard for 8 goddamn years. It goes back to like the first computer I've ever had, and it's actually, up until this point, it was the only part of my gaming setup, or my computer setup, I should say, that hadn't been replaced. Even the desk had been replaced at least once before, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I was hoping to give you guys a video review as a Christmas present, but that's not going to happen because as of this recording date, which is December 30th, 2015, less than 24 hours from now, as I am speaking, my wisdom teeth are coming out. So I'm not really going to be in a position to record any dialogue or even move my mouth, for that matter, for like a week. So I can still get you guys the video review, but I'm going to be pretty incapacitated for a few days. I wanted to get it out before the end of the year, but that's not going to happen, as I said. Anyways, what I'm here to talk about today, like this is going to be your substitute Christmas present, I know it's not much, but what I'm here to talk about today is something that's been on my mind for a very long time, and what really piqued my desire to make this video was when Sony revealed that the PS2 games that are going to be made available on PS4, they're not actually going to be backwards compatible with your discs. You're going to have to buy them on the PlayStation Store once again, much like they did with the PS3. Only this time, they have trophy support, they've been given a really good cleanup, and they all run at 60 frames per second. And it got me thinking about backwards compatibility, HD collections, like the whole remaster debacle in general. Now, I'm no stranger to high-def collections. I've actually bought them in the past, I've even reviewed one of them, and as I've stated before, I've enjoyed them very much. The thing that bothers me is that there's nothing wrong with re-releasing old games and giving them enhancements to like their graphics or the frame rate or something like that. By itself, there's nothing wrong with that. What I find to be very, very, very wrong is that we're not given a choice. Now, if we were given a choice, let's take God of War 3, for example, which was re-released on PS4 with virtually no difference except it's now in 1080p 60 FPS. For someone like me, who's never played God of War 3 before, if I was given a choice, if the PS4 was backwards compatible with PS3 games, like I've heard rumors that it was supposed to be, I would still go with the PS4 version, because I'm just like a superficial freak. Like, why do you think I bought a fucking $1,500 computer so I could, like, play all my games maxed out? Like, the slightest noticeable frame rate drop drives me crazy, personally. I can't stand it when frame rate drops, and if there's an option out there with better graphics, you know, clearer resolutions, better draw distances, stuff like that, for me, makes a big difference. So I would go out and buy the most up-to-date or the most advanced version if I was given a choice. And this stems all the way back to Sony cutting PS2 backwards compatibility for the PS3 back in 2007, I believe it was. It was either 2007 or 2008. I don't entirely remember. That's what bothers me. Sony, and this goes out to everyone. You know what, not just Sony, it goes out to everyone who is doing this. If you want to re-release your old games in high def or as collection packs or something like that, that's perfectly fine and dandy. But if your successor console uses the same media format like a disc as your predecessor console, give us a fucking choice. That's what it boils down to. Give us a choice. We're not asking for much here. I mean, sure, development costs to put the Emotion engine in were probably fucking through the roof when the PS3 was first launched. But then they switched to software emulation, which I don't really know much about development costs, but that sounds like a much more economically viable option. And not only that, what about when the PS3 got cheaper to make? You couldn't just put it back in there like that? I mean, I'm going to give credit to Microsoft. They've been working pretty damn hard to make a bunch of the Xbox 360 games playable on the VCR. Yes, I call the Xbox One the VCR for those of you who don't know that. It's a sign of affection. And if you ask me, That was actually really, really admirable of them. Just working night and day so that we could take our disc, put it in the VCR, and play it as normal. And for Sony to just go and pull something like this and not give us the choice of putting our Dark Cloud disc into the PS4, because Dark Cloud is one of the first games released, enhanced, and everything, that is really, really shitty. And it makes Sony look so greedy in the process. Now, I'm sure they said making these games run at these resolutions and cleaning them up and everything, the software emulation costs a bit of a pretty penny. You know what? It's okay. I'm all for that. You know, like, as I said personally, I would buy Dark Cloud on the PS4 as well. I would chuck my fucking disc right out the window because of the graphic and frame rate and most likely loading time improvements. But my whole point is that there's nothing wrong with high-def collections, re-releasing your old games on some newer format or anything like that, or remastering like what Sony's doing with the PS2 games on the PS4. My whole point is give us a choice, guys. That's all we want. Okay, and besides, it shouldn't cost that much to now put like PS1 and PS2 tech inside the PS4 at the very least. And sure, some people will say, oh, you can't expect your old games to be supported indefinitely, and I don't. But the point is, if they want to take these old games from an age long since forgotten and re-release them, and some of us still have the disc, and, you know, that console from that day and age used a CD format or a DVD format, and this new console can support it, why shouldn't we be able to do that? Take that old disc and put it in there. Why not? If you're going to go through all this trouble to rework these old games for this new console, let us use the fucking disc. It can't cost that much more, but then again, there's no profit in that, which is, I know that's what this is all about, especially since development costs just fucking skyrocketed in the 7th generation. But still, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. This is also one of the reasons why I still have my PS2 from, like, 2002, 2003, I don't remember which year I got it, which is, by the way, still fully functional and still able to play all my old games as well as PS1 games. And yeah, that was my 2 cents on it. Let me know what you guys think. Have a happy new year. Wish me luck on my wisdom teeth surgery. See you next year, guys.